Hey guys, welcome back to another retarded YouTube video, to say the least. I keep seeing clips of these two doofuses. I don't know how I haven't seen this video by now, because all I watch is this stuff. But they seem to have an issue with the carnivore diet, which obviously it's not going to be the real carnivore diet. It's going to be the cooked one. So we'll see there. And I understand they're going to have some criticisms that align with the cooked carnivore diet. But I'll be correcting both sides of this.
Carnivore diet, time for me to start it.
Wait, what?
Not just joking. But what we are talking about today is this carnivore diet that is very popular and has a bunch of issues with it that honestly is going to create a lot of controversy because these people are very passionate.
I think anyone who has an extreme diet is passionate.
100%.
If you're like carnivore,
Keto, vegan,
yeah.
whatever, you name it.
You know,
They are right, like vegans, and especially the cooked carnivores. And I remember, like, I literally had an eating disorder from the carnivore diet, the fake one. I thought that sugar was the devil, and it was really restrictive eating. It was very stressful on my body. And now that I just have a little bit of fructose, it's like life is good. I'm not stressed. I follow what my body is telling me to do. You know, have like a little fruit every now and then. Have a little coconut water. It's hydrating. Your body wants the sugar because of the hydration within these fruits, so it makes sense.
people come in, I am so passionate about a balanced diet. That just
No.
doesn't happen. People are who go into these extreme diets.
It's like a religion.
Really are passionate
Zealots.
about it. Right.
Okay, so
And a lot of the diets are really religious. They're very dogmatic. It's not very open-minded. And that's something I had to accept with the fake carnivore diet, is that, I'm following a set of rules and I'm not listening to my body. So I'm going to go just have some fructose, see what happens. It's not the end of the world. It didn't do anything.
let's start at the beginning of this.
But it is important to note that balanced diets are not optimal whatsoever. Your body doesn't prefer multiple diverse groups of foods, and obviously plants and fruits are not food. Plants would be poisonous and fruit would be hydration. But in processes like, for example, the Randall cycle, your body prefers one source of something. And so when you're giving your body multiple sources of something, it gets very stressed and overloaded and has to try and pick out and switch between, and it's a very metabolically unstable process. So eating one food group, which would be an animal, for most of the year, because most of the year we should be in fat metabolism, and then gradually adding in some fruit in the summer or when it's warm. This is optimal. This way you won't confuse your body.
What is the carnivore diet?
Carnivore diet.
Shut your mouth. Just kidding. The carnivore diet is someone or an animal that eats at least 20 to 40% raw meat in their diet. And obviously that's very loose because a real carnivore eats 90 to 100% meat. But for the case of humans, we are hyper carnivores. But that doesn't exclude things like fruits. And so 20 to 40, maybe some cases 60 to 80% raw meat. You are a carnivore if you have 20 to 40% raw meat, though. But all of these carnivores, so-called, are not carnivores. We've not evolved to cook our meat.
Consists of eating animal products primarily, if not only.
Yeah, so the strictest form is truly only animal products.
That's right.
So that means no plants, no fruits, no vegetables, no nuts.
And another issue with this is that a hypercarnivore, in terms of a human, is someone who eats, I believe, about 80 to 88% meat in general. So there's still about 12% for fruits. So even if you ate fruit, you would still be considered a carnivore. And it's important to make the distinction between carnivore and omnivore. A carnivore is someone who obligately eats meat and eats anything that there is available, but mainly meat. An omnivore is something that can eat plants and fruits, but that doesn't necessarily mean they would choose them first.
Nothing, just animal products.
And that's good. No seeds. Seeds are the most protected part of a plant. That's really good.
Okay. It
Seems like a good idea.
seems obvious that it's not a good idea. I mean, I spent so many years telling my kids to eat their vegetables. I never thought I'd have to
Claim evidence and reasoning.
say it again now that they're grown up and they have kind of good eating habits, but here we are.
Right. So there are some.
I struggle to believe that just based on how you look. And I don't mean this in a rude way, but he does look like a bird. His facial structure. His
Animals and other animals.
And when I'm making these criticisms, I'm not saying that I'm the objective standard of everything. I was raised on sludge and seeds, bread, sugar. I mean, I was obese as a child, so I'm not above these people. But the fact that I got out of that just shows that I'm trying to do the good thing, while these people are in delusion and they need to be corrected.
That are obligated.
And if you take a look at the guy on the left, his eyes look very stressed and sunken in. So obviously his recommendation probably isn't optimal.
Carnivores, we are not them. So the thought behind this diet is talking about our ancestors way back, who knows even how many, 10,000 or whatever million years ago that you think, how they ate
4.5 million years.
high-fat, high-protein diets. And some fossil studies have shown that maybe this is true, but other studies have clearly shown they
Multiple meta-analysis show stable isotope analysis of humans proving that we ate mostly or exclusively meat. And these stable isotopes were compared to other animals in the area. Animals like what they would consider actual carnivores. And we actually had a stronger significance of carnivorous habits and biomarkers compared to them. So it's funny he just kind of proved himself wrong by mentioning those.
actually a fair number of plants. But the reason that
Plus, they lived to 32.
They did eat plants. Like, for example, I believe the Maasai tribe eats fibrous tubers. But it's important to note that they only eat them when there is no meat. Humans eat whatever they can get because without something to sustain us, we'd die. So when there's no meat, the next thing is fruit, roots, fruit juices, coconuts, sometimes just water, famine. So
that's right, because you're
live till 32. Well, I mean, lots of people eat the balanced diet and live till 32. So what's your point?
being chased by like a dinosaur or whatever, if you believe that. So, but what it means,
We never
though,
overlapped with the dinosaurs.
what it means is that these people did not have food security. So when you found an animal or you happened to kill an animal by hunting, you ate as much as you could because you didn't know when your next meal was coming. And usually what was available were animals. There was not regular farming. There were not industrialized farm practices. There were not.
Exactly. You would go out and hunt and then kill the animal, drink its blood, eat its organs, eat its muscle meat. And I don't know if these guys are like clueless or not, but like, let's say, for example, like you go out and kill an elk a couple 100,000 years ago. That meat will probably last you like a week to 2 weeks if you ate only that. And especially in the winter, that's all you'll have. So that's not really far out.
Stores, we'll go buy food. Like nowadays, we have unlimited access to food. So this is one of the arguments that, hey, our ancestors do it, maybe we should do it.
Okay, mutual of.
Yes, because we have systems in our body that have been evolved and adapted to our 4.5 million year existence. And when we try to go outside the bounds of this is when we start running into immense issues. And obviously, we did not consume vegetables. We consumed, like I said, fibrous tubers, which you could consider a vegetable, but the modern vegetables that you see in the grocery store are not in nature, and our ancestors had never ever seen any of them because they've been cultivated.
But now people are talking about carnivore diets for other reasons.
You know that show that they used to stage those catching of the animals?
Really?
Yeah, I was disappointed to learn that when I was a kid, we used to, it was always on Sunday nights, and we'd watch it, and they would catch the animal, and then they would release them, and then film them catching them again. But it seemed like it was like so real, but
It did.
I know, very disappointing. Anyways, go ahead.
Nobody out there probably remembers Mutual of
Our
Omaha.
viewers do, because they're in that demographic. They probably did. Leave a comment if you watch Mutual of Omaha.
Okay, so but the modern day carnivore
Yes.
is drawn to the carnivore diet because they may have seen some immediate results of, hey, this is really working.
Right.
I'm losing weight. I'm trying this carnivore diet. I'm feeling good and I'm losing weight. Why is that?
Yeah, you'll definitely lose weight on that diet simply because you're switching from mostly sugar metabolism, glucose metabolism, to fat metabolism. And because you're not consuming sugar, there's no fructose going to your liver, which produces small clumps of fat that are distributed throughout your body. Instead, it's reverse, where you produce ketones and you use fat alongside your diet as fuel, along with gluconeogenesis. So, yeah, people see really great results. You don't lose muscle, you don't lose bone, you don't lose anything really except for fat. So, that's a plus there. Obviously, you'll be extremely stressed after a while. Like when you have adequate fat, it's okay. Use fat metabolism, use gluconeogenesis. But after a while, this will become stressful. It'll become like your body is trying to signal to you, hey, we've used a lot of fat. Maybe go get some fruit, or, I mean, even just like raw meat that still has glycogen. That's either one.
Okay, so yeah, definitely it's popular with the gym bros and the gym bro science, and people really trying.
Yeah, it's because the gym bros are stressed and unhealthy because they lift weights. And obviously, it should be understood by now that weightlifting and exercise in general is extremely stressful and unhealthy for the body. You literally kill your cells from even the lightest lifting or workout. And so I could see why it's popular among gym bros. They're all stressed and tired.
Increase mass because of the protein count. The reason that it has potential to help in early on is for a bunch of reasons. So one, when you eat a diet that's very restrictive, regardless of what it is, chances are your calories are going to go down. So
Elimination. You're eliminating other foods.
Yeah, so you reduce the calories, so this can show weight benefits, but when you eliminate these other foods, you're eliminating a whole bunch of things. So you're eliminating anything from a box, which we would say you should do anyway, so highly processed foods. You're eliminating highly refined grains. You're eliminating sugary snacks as well as drinks. So these things we've talked about all the time.
That's a good thing. Yeah, as imperfect as that diet is, I think it's sustainable for a lot of people short term to just get off the junk. And it's not so foreign because everyone's brainwashed to think that raw meat is bad for you. So I like that aspect.
Good things to eliminate.
They're good things to eliminate, and that might be part of why you feel better. The other thing is when you eliminate all those other things, you may have some things that you had subtle intolerances or potentially allergies to that you weren't aware of that now are removed, so you're like, oh, you know what, my stomach feels a little bit better, I'm a little bit less inflamed, whatever. There's a lot of potential benefits of these elimination style diets, but it's really, you're just eliminating everything, so it's gonna ease your gut. And some people say that things like leaky gut and your gut microbiome can improve when you do this initially.
All right, here.
Yeah, the science behind that would be a lot of people like typically eat lectins every day and tannins. which do cause leaky gut, like tomatoes, bread, things like those disrupt the gut and can put holes in the gut because things like tomatoes are alkaloids,
Here's why
nightshades.
it's not good for you.
Okay.
First of all, you could actually be, in a way, malnutritioned because you're missing out on a lot of essential vitamins and other nutrients that you just can't get from only animal products.
Absence of key vitamins, minerals, fiber, and phytochemicals. Well, fiber is not essential. Um, there is the proper proportion of minerals in meat and organs, so I don't know what he means. And I believe the only vitamins he's going to name are probably vitamin A, which is just beta carotene, which is not vitamin A. And then obviously vitamin C, which is toxic if you eat too much, and it has to be converted to the DHAA animal version of vitamin C. And it's important to know that vitamin C has 8 different structures, and the ascorbic acid in the fruit is just one of them. So, I mean, you have to convert the fruit vitamin C into the animal vitamin C. So obviously there's a more bioavailable choice, which would be in things like spleen and kidney.
Vitamin C, for example.
So theoretically, you could develop scurvy. A lot of these do take a long time to develop. So early on, you're
Scurvy was developed after Napoleon's men ran out of meat. They're eating really salty meat too. And it wasn't oranges that cured their scurvy. It was, I believe, it was horse meat. If I'm not mistaken, Napoleon fed his men horse meat, and their scurvy symptoms went away. So I don't. Fatigue, weakness, gum disease, and let's just use anecdotes for example. Look at literally any carnivore right now. Find the gum disease. Find the bruised back. Where is it? I mean, especially the fatigue too. Every single carnivore, and I'm sure there's outliers, report more energy and less fatigue because they're in fat metabolism. They're invigorated, to say the least. So this is a lie. And I understand they might not know this because they went through school, through the government that's trying to control you and make you sick.
not signs of most of these micronutrient or phytochemical deficiencies.
Right, so you're missing out on a host of.
And I believe scurvy takes about 5 to 8 weeks to develop, which obviously for the typical carnivore, that doesn't happen.
Of essential vitamins and nutrients that you're not going to get just from the
Like
animal
what?
Right. So that's one. The second one is if you have existing kidney disease.
He says, you're going to miss out on multiple vitamins, as we demonstrated. And then his partner's like, that's one.
That can be very dangerous for you. Obviously, most people do not have kidney disease, but if you have borderline kidney function or kidney damage, this amount of protein definitely is a problem.
Okay, and the
Show me one randomized control trial that proves the link between protein and kidney damage. You won't. There's confounding factors like AGEs, the meat being cooked and processed, salt, like the char that is toxic, and then your body has to filter that. If you just ate raw meat, you wouldn't have this, and there's literally not a study on this about raw meat and kidneys. So, what can you do?
another thing is if you're like me and your body has a problem with cholesterol,
Okay.
and you make too much cholesterol, or your cholesterol levels are a little bit high, or you have a
Hey, all right, buddy. Here, I'm going to educate you. So your body has evolved for 4.5 million years, right? So it likely knows what's best for you. And when it's doing something that it thinks is good, you should probably not tamper with that by putting statins in yourself. If your body is like, we need to make more cholesterol, it's probably because you have inflammation. Instead of attacking the fireman, attack the fire, which would be inflammation from glycolysis, like glycation, inflammation, oxidation. Those are what trigger the cholesterol to be made. And no one in the history of our species up until the last 100 years had statins. And there was no atherosclerosis in any of ancient natural cadavers. His body doesn't have a cholesterol problem. He has a subjective problem with his cholesterol because he's been brainwashed by the government.
Family history of high cholesterol, a heavy.
You probably have a family history of bad eating habits, such as eating seed oils, lots of sugar, lots of junk. It's not, oh, I eat too much cholesterol. And it's interesting because if you stop eating cholesterol, then your liver upregulates the cholesterol production. But if you eat more, then your liver downregulates cholesterol production. So no matter what you do, you literally can't tamper with your cholesterol unless you take a statin, which is unnatural. And these doctors know it. They know that your liver is doing what's right for your body, so they have to put an altering drug in your body to make you sick.
Animal-based diet will increase your cholesterol.
Carnivore diet may pose risks with a history of high cholesterol due to its emphasis on consuming animals high in saturated fat. Further increases in cardiovascular health concerns. So, saturated fat is the most stable fat that you can put in your body. Let's say, for example, that for the sake of the argument, let's just substitute saturated fat for poly and monounsaturated fats, which would be from things like seed oils. When you consume the seed oils instead, because they're a plant oil and not an animal lipid, they crystallize in your arteries because they are solid below 105 degrees, which causes atherosclerosis. And they're double bonded hydrogen, so they're unstable. They oxidize, which causes the inflammation, which causes the cholesterol to come and try to fix the inflammation. But with saturated fats, they are not double bonded. They are highly stable, and they integrate perfectly with your own lipids, which are saturated fats and cholesterol. This guy, I don't know how he doesn't realize this. If you didn't eat at all, nothing for days, your body would start using your fat, and that fat would go into your blood and be distributed to your cells, and that fat is saturated fat. If not saturated fats were optimal, your body would make those to use as energy. But we are animals. Cows are animals. Lamb, mammoth, they all have cholesterol and saturated fat. Doofus.
Because of the often obligatory amounts of saturated fats. And there is controversy as to how much saturated fat is going to increase your levels of LDL or the bad cholesterol, and it's linked to heart disease. We have videos about this.
Where do I start? There's no such thing as LDL cholesterol. There is low density lipoproteins and high density lipoproteins. Low density lipoproteins are a transporter for cholesterol. And these LDL transporters go to inflammation, damage. That's their purpose. And it's just arbitrary trying to make a value judgment on LDL. Prove it. Why is it bad? Oh, well, because we found it in atherosclerosis cases. Well, have you ever considered the confounding factors like inflammation, like I've been saying this entire time? There is one type of cholesterol, there's two types of lipoproteins, high density and low density.
But generally speaking, this has been shown to increase your risk of cardiovascular disease.
Yeah.
Risk does not equal causation.
The problem is that, I mean, that is well shown. The increased cholesterol, increased LDL, that will increase your risk of heart disease.
I agree. The presence of a blockage in the arteries due to the LDL carrying the cholesterol is because of the inflammation. And I have multiple meta-analyses that I can link in the description that prove it's not cholesterol that's the issue, it's the inflammation or the environment that the cholesterol is in. It's just like there's a fire downtown, let's say. And let's say that dispatch is my brain, police dispatch. And the cells are people, the arterial cells. And the arterial cells are calling the brain or the dispatch and saying, I need you to send units to come help me because we are under attack or we're on fire. Our house is on fire. So the brain sends those firemen to come fix the problem. And it's such a huge problem that it keeps sending and sending, and it happens over and over again. They keep sending more and more. And it gets to the point where there's too many firemen to even put out the fire. And this ends up in, well, the house burning down because there's too much crowding. This is because you're hijacking your brain, your arterial walls with sugar, oxidation, and seed oils.
Where the controversy comes in is if you take medicines to reduce that, are you going to live longer? And I'm fine, I can accept.
No. You're going to reduce the amount of healing molecules and hormone building molecules, and therefore you're going to have less metabolic function. You're going to have less hormone synthesis. I assume with women, they go menopausal quicker because they don't have sterols to build vitamin D. They don't have the building block to estrogen. Same with men, they don't have the building block to testosterone.
Those verses, but it's irrefutable that these high levels
Yes.
are linked to heart disease.
Decades.
And it's funny because about half of the people who start carnivore, their LDL nanograms per deciliter actually drops. It lowers. And one thing to add too is that about half of the cases of heart disease and heart attacks, the people have low cholesterol, which vindicates what I'm saying, that it's not the cholesterol which is the cause, it's the environment.
Of solid research, regardless of how you feel about big pharma. Okay, another issue with the carnivore diet is an issue with constipation. Unfortunately, if you're a diet that has essentially zero fiber, constipation.
Yeah, this is due to the cooked charred meats. They're very abrasive and they're very tough and hard, and they have little to no water content compared to raw meat. So they're absolutely right about that. On the other hand, if you consume raw meat, you can't feel it in your stomach. It passes straight through your intestines and it gets fully absorbed in the small intestine. And the only things that are left over are things like bacteria. And also, if you have enough fat, you will excrete the fat because you make a certain amount of bile for the amount of fat that you eat. And if the fat is higher than the bile that you have, then your body excretes the rest of the fat. So it's obvious that we have a specific genetic biological preference for how much fat we need. And it's obvious that we need a lot of fat. And when you don't, and when you get things like constipation, it's because you're not consuming enough fat to lubricate the anus.
A very big problem, and that amount of, they believe the combination of protein, lack of fiber, increases your risk of colon cancer quite specifically.
All right.
All right, show me the causation studies. And I know exactly the study he's talking about, or the meta-analyses, where they use cooked and processed and salted meat, which denatures the vitamin B12 and makes it toxic. And the vitamin B12 and the heme iron is what they're talking about that causes the colon cancer. It's because it becomes toxic after you cook it, after you char it, after you salt it and denature it. He's just blindly proving raw carnivore.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, there's definitely more. So the other thing is anti-aging properties. So a lot of people who believe in the carnivore diet will say that there are chemicals in plants that actually are bad for you, that plants have devised a way to have these chemicals to make them less appealing to animals.
Yeah, just don't eat poison ivy.
Right, so having said that though, these are the exact same compounds that have been shown to reverse aging or reduce aging, like
yeah, he's right. There's anti-nutrients and defense compounds in plants, and a little bit in fruits, but not a lot. Because plants can't run, they can't punch, they can't do anything. They have to chemically defend themselves.
things like in grapes and other plants. So that whole rationale of don't eat plants because we're not supposed to, or not designed to eat plants.
I'd have to look into that, and I'm not against grapes at all. I eat grapes pretty often. When I can find ones that don't have glyphosate, when they have things like caffeine or essential oils. Here in Utah, we have a lot of farm stores, a lot of agriculture, so it's a lot easier to get better quality things. Obviously, you can't fully be glyphosate free in this world that we live in, which is, it's pretty vindicative for the cooked carnivores.
Totally breaks down on a scientific level. The last thing that I would say about the carnivore diet is, if you go to the National Library of Congress database, where all randomized controlled trials and published medical literature exists, there are 0 studies on the carnivore diet. There are lots of studies about carnivore diet in dogs.
Right.
No evidence isn't evidence of lack. Just because something isn't there doesn't mean the thing isn't. Just because there's no studies that say it's good doesn't mean it's not good. That's a fallacy.
In cats, in other obligate carnivores, but we
Oh, but you appeal to the same studies that use animals and not humans.
are not them. There are no studies. And so a couple things. In general, diet research, food-based research, supplement research is not very well done because it's complicated, it's expensive, and it's easier just to release.
Empirical anecdotal data completely destroys any meta-analysis, any study you could think of. If your body is thriving, it functions well, and you have longevity, that will knock any study out of the park. It's your body rewarding you and telling you, you are putting healthy things in the body, in my body. You're not putting tannins and lectins in my stomach. You're not putting oxalates and other crystals in my joints and my thyroid and my eyes. You're eating the most bioavailable food that I can digest easily and that I don't have any complications with, no gas, no bloating.
Say something and start propagating. But there's no data. So if you are a carnivore lover and you really love the carnivore, please organize a randomized control trial and please show us somehow that A, it's going to help in the short term, but B, more importantly, the long term. This is my big fear for these people. If you do it for a month and you lose 20 pounds and you feel better, great. But 20 years from now, your risk of heart disease.
Show me a randomized meta-analysis control trial that proves that it's bad. We're going to judge you on the same basis that or the same standard that you're giving to the carnivores. If your premise is that, well, there's no long-term research, well, then that disqualifies either side.
Other medical problems are going to be very significant.
So we're not going to tell you what to eat and what not to eat. We're just reviewing some of the literature about the carnivore diet and some of the implications of it. If you're thinking of going down that road, you really should know this stuff that we just talked about.
Make sure you bring some Metamucil if you
That was a shit video.
are going down that road. And then the last thing I would say is be careful of people that promote this diet, because throughout YouTube, TikTok,
Guys, I don't feel good on this diet. I just want you to die. I just want to drag you down with me and make you feel so miserable. I totally don't feel the best I've ever felt in my life. And I totally don't want to share that with you too. If people are telling you to do it, there's probably a reason.
and all these platforms, a lot of people are selling you stuff. So beware of someone that's selling you a book or that's selling.
That's true. And I'm not, mark my words, I will never, ever try to profit on your health on this channel at all. I will never try to charge you to do natural things. Obviously, I can do consultations and things like that for more one-on-one things, but I will never sell a course. I will never try to charge to show you what's good. That would be an absolute sellout.
And if you have to take a ton of supplements to deal with your crazy diet, maybe it's not a good diet.
Exactly. Because they cook their food, so they have to take supplements. Me, for example, I haven't taken a supplement in about a year now because I don't need them.
I'm not a big fan of diets in general, but I think you should have a good diet.
Yeah.
And it's important to know that supplements have an LD50 value, which means they will kill you. They're bitter, they're toxic. Eat food with actual vitamin D, A, K2, C. Don't take supplements. They're toxic. Like, if you can't taste it and like it, don't consume it.
In general, but yeah, I mean, really educate yourself well before you embark on this type of lifestyle eating.
And we're not sponsored by anybody, so what people eat doesn't really matter.
I thought you were sponsored by kale.
No, I'm a self-promoter of kale. I'm not sponsored per se.
Oh, gosh. So he warns against a very unsupported claim that cholesterol causes heart disease. But then he tries to support and promote kale, which has a cause and effect meta-analysis proving that the oxalates and other lectins and things like that cause adverse health problems. And there's a reason you don't want to eat it. It tastes bad and your body's trying to tell you there is poison in this. There is no nutrition in kale. There is no fat-soluble vitamins. There's nothing in it.
Green leafy vegetables.
It doesn't have to be a bully. Science just shows that it's good for you.
I read that how we learned that we could eat kale was someone was walking through a kale field, cut themselves on the kale, and bit it out of anger and said, hey, we can actually eat this.
Yeah. No, that's...
No, what happened is that we ran out of meat because of things like wars and famines, and then we started eating these starvation foods to fill up our stomach.
But the chicken wing.
The chicken wing. We are trying to get sponsored by the chicken wing.
No, we are not. You maybe are.
Honey garlic, barbecue, dry rub.
Boring.
Go. We're not sponsored by anybody. If you like this video, please like it, subscribe to our channel, even if you don't like this video. Leave a comment, tell us your experience with either the carnivore diet or someone you know who's on the carnivore diet.
Fuck no.
And just don't believe everything you see on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok.
TikTok.
Wait, that's
yeah,
us.
that's us. Yeah.
Never mind.
Don't.
Yeah. listen to this dude that looks like a bird, and then this dude that looks like a ferret. Listen to them. They know exactly what they're talking about. Are you fucking listening to me? Listen to these doctors. Gosh.
Leave the hype. Public Enemy said it best.
You are in charge of your own health.
We'll see you next time.
Yes, you are in charge of your own health. And when your body's telling you to do something, do it. When your body's like, I want fat, go eat saturated animal fat to nourish you with 15 micronutrients. This is an ASMR now. But yeah, that was a pretty shitty video. And if you're interested in improving your health and your looks and your skin, your hair, things like that, I offer the best advice that one can give on dieting. And it's not so much a diet, it's the optimal human diet. It's a lifestyle. It's a thing you live and you do every day. And to share my personal story, I gained about 120 pounds in just a couple of years. I was about 280 pounds, extremely obese and sick, unhappy. I had a lot of brain fog, digestive issues, ADHD. I thought I needed to take like fucking, what do they call it? The stimulant that they use for ADHD. I thought I needed these things, but I started the fake cooked carnivore diet about last February. I did that for about 10 months. I switched over to about 40 to 50% raw meat. And then very recently, I started adding in things like fruit back into my diet around the year mark of my journey, because there's adequate sun and I can ground outside. But this vastly improved my health. I lost about 90 pounds. I went from 280 to 187 pounds. I'm about 192 now. I feel amazing. My hair, my skin, my testosterone all have improved. My reproductive health. I mean, you name it. I don't take naps anymore. I don't get tired during the day. I have stable energy throughout the entire day. And I don't want to make money off of you guys wanting the same thing. I want all of you to have the exact same thing that I'm experiencing right now. Every day I wake up in paradise knowing that I feel extremely happy, satiated, and energized and invigorated. And I want to share this to all of you. So if you need help improving your diet, please reach out to me, message me, DM me, comment down below. How can I help you? What advice do you need? What things do you need help with? So that will be the end of the video, and I appreciate if you got this far. And I hope to see you on the next video. Glory to God. God bless you all. Peace.